Hello, everybody. It's Dave Neal, stand-up comic and host of Bachelor Nation News and the Rush Hour podcast, which you can scan this QR code if you want to listen to it twice a day, all your entertainment news. Sick of Bachelor Nation News? Well, I've got Dancing with the Stars news and Survivor and Diddy and whatever else we want to talk about. But in this video, we've got Brandon addressing why he waited so long to spill the tea. So I guess they broke up, spring of this past year? Last year. It's been a while. It's been a while now, but hey, I never blame somebody for how long it takes them to come around to sharing what they need to share. But he's going to address why it took so long. I'll also play a clip from Reality Steve's podcast, because Steve, and I believe him, had his source say that this was 100% cheating. Could there be a scenario where Serene believes it was cheating and Brandon doesn't? I don't know. Sure. Yeah, of course. And I'm sure if Serene believes it's cheating, all of Serene's friends are going to believe it's cheating. Serene's brother says he has receipts of abuse. I mean, these are wild things being thrown out there. I almost feel like you can't say you have receipts of abuse without sharing them. I don't know. I guess in respect for his sister, he doesn't want to share it, but also when you mention it publicly, what's going on? So my general belief from someone who doesn't know either party is that I would be shocked for Brandon to even go do this interview if there wasn't sort of some truth to what he's saying. Because why would you do that? Now, don't get me wrong. A lot of times I am surprised by people in Bachelor Nation. Their stupidity, I'm not calling Brandon stupid, just some people in Bachelor Nation will dig themselves, like take Devin, for example. He was like, are we done yet? And then it turns out there was a lot of way worse things to come out about him. We don't have too much else to report on with the Devin story right now, but that's probably because the lawyers got involved and people stopped talking. So I don't imagine any lawyers getting involved in this he said, she said situation. But we do have Brandon responding to this Q&A. I'm going to play that for you. Then I'm going to play what Steve had to say. And again, this is what happens when you're not in charge of the news cycle. And by news cycle, I mean Serene kind of came out and shared her story with Off the Vine. She did a good job. Credit where it's due. Serene did not pick any scabs in her Off the Vine interview last year. But just because Serene has kept it clean doesn't mean that Brandon can't try to vindicate himself if Bachelor Nation still feels, though, that he's a cheater. It must suck. I've never been labeled a cheater, but it must suck to be mischaracterized if it's something you didn't do. Maybe he's a bad boyfriend. Maybe he was jealous, toxic. Maybe he was a whole bunch of things. But if you didn't cheat, at the very least, you don't want to be labeled that, because that is something that comes along with you for future relationships. Either way, here's what he had to say. Let's go to it.
I'm good. Life's good. I'm happy. Sun's shining today. Yeah, I'm good. I'm in San Diego.
His closet collection there involves lots of shoes and hats. Hey, that's the single life.
If you're here, come say hello.
All right, so he's doing and I get it, these must suck to do. He's got to go make some money. So, hey, when it rains, what does it say? Rain makes corn, corn makes whiskey, whiskey makes me feel a little frisky. How does it go? Either way, the point is he's going to be getting a ton of traffic to his page. You might as well get some influencer bucks. Would you ever go back on Bachelor in Paradise? He says no with sad music. And then let's see what else we have here. Curious, why did you wait so long to address the split with Serene? Now, mind you, we covered this story, 11 months ago? 11 months ago, he commented, last fall or late summer of 2023, he covered this. And he said, I did not cheat. We covered this yesterday, right? He understands there's a narrative circulating, falsely painting my character, so we wanted to provide some information. Now, you can be like, the relationship, something worse could have happened than cheating, right? I don't know. I'm not speculating. I'm just saying it would be insane for him to go on Clayton's podcast, say, I didn't cheat. And then, Serene's brother says I have receipts of something even worse. Because here's what Serene's brother had to say. There were times I was behind them with her, the phone calls or whatever. This man has personally apologized to me and asked for forgiveness for his abuse to her. I have receipts. So whatever, there's just a lot to throw out there without further information. But like I said, it's delicate because if you want to respect your sister Serene, who doesn't want to share that story, then that's fine. But it's like now you're letting the audience speculate even further. So anyhow, he has shared this before. He just didn't do a full out podcast. And again, he obviously didn't go into the details beforehand. Look, have you ever been in a relationship that there was love, so you want to protect the other person, but then you realize that by protecting the other person, you fell on the sword and you took the hit? Has no one ever been in that situation? Well, in real life, if you go through a breakup, you can just like tell your friends, oh my gosh, no, yeah, she really put me through hell. I tried to do this. I tried to do, like, it doesn't get aired out there. But in one of these relationships, in my belief, it's less rewriting the story and more finally getting the story. We've seen this with other relationships, whether it be, certain relationships still haven't been spoken on. Zach, Clark, and Tasha, they'll probably never speak on it. That's a smart thing to do. But when one party starts discussing things and then Bachelor Nation starts taking a side. Now, the problem here is, and they've said this all along, never let the praise and never let the criticism get to you. But Brandon was beloved in Bachelor Nation, and then he had his fall from grace. Really, he's probably just like everybody else, trying his best with the information he has. Here's what he had to say.
Because I was so angry and mad at what I heard, to the point to where, I just wanted to take a step back. And before I answered with aggression and anger, I wanted to just get my mind right. So continuous amounts of therapy, trusting in God, having the support system that I have. Yeah, I wanted to handle something with that with delicacy and care and respect. And so, I just waited until I was able to do so.
Now, like I said, everyone deserves their truth. If Serene has receipts, or her brother has receipts that blow up his story, by all means, they're entitled to share those. I think by covering this and by speaking out, he's entered the arena to allow a rebuttal response. I don't think we're going to get that from Serene. And you could say, well, that's either her taking the high road, or B, it takes two to tango.
Yeah.
And I don't know which one it is.
Oh.
Can you tell us about these videos? All right, so these are the videos he said she took. 80 videos. And people ask, talk about it, or no, we don't need to know. And 90% of people, listen, audiences have never agreed more. Talk about it. Now, is that because it would be the healthy thing to do? No. That's because we all crave the blood of the gladiator sport known as Bachelor breakups. That's something we should all work out in therapy, to be honest.
Yeah, we're going to take a poll. Yeah, we'll take a poll. It's going to be, I'm going to need more time than, probably I'm going to need like 2 minutes, but I'm not going to take 2 minutes up on this right now, but yeah.
2 minutes? It sounds like it would be a lot more than that. Listen, do you guys remember the movie 8 Mile, Eminem? They do the roast battle and he just kind of makes fun of himself. He takes away the power of the other person to make fun of him. I think Brandon, if he did something wrong in these videos, own up to all of it. Take the wind out of the sails. Own up to it. Yeah, I was a bad fighter. When we'd get in these arguments, I would raise my voice. Listen, it's not good to raise your voice in a fight, but I would not necessarily call that abuse. Now, if you're slamming down and yelling at the other person and name calling and tormenting them and punching a wall, and yes, that's bad. You could call that abuse. We don't know what these fights were all about. Now, somebody said, actually, an interesting comment here on one of my videos. I listened to the entire interview yesterday, and I believe Brandon. He took full responsibility for his part. And by the way, Serene also took responsibility. She said in an Off the Vine interview, like, we were bad, it wasn't working, so she took her, what she probably could have done if there wasn't cheating was, let those, help squash those rumors. But she believes that he cheated on her. I don't doubt things were messy on both sides and they tore each other down in arguments. But I will say taking secret recordings only documented the moments when Serene knew she was being recorded. So would have been on her best behavior to paint herself in a better light during those particular fights. He came across as sincere when he said he went through hours of being beaten down and cussed out over the phone. He is obviously an anxious, broken, hurting man. I hope this ends here and they can both move on to find happiness. It's an interesting and very empathetic comment, All right, let's continue with what Brandon had to say.
Yeah, let's take a poll.
I'll miss you guys too. I'll miss all.
All right, so let's see.
Oh, no, I'm not done. Oh, no, I'm not done.
So the question was, are you done with reality TV? He says, no. I wonder what he would go on. Who knows? Are you single is the next question.
Kept a secret for several months from y'all. No, I'm not.
So he says he's not single. Now he said, I want to answer every single one. You have no idea. So these are all the questions. See if there's any good ones in here. DM'd you after listening to your podcast. Big of you to speak up on all of that. Sending love. People said you should start a podcast. I don't know about that. I don't think he'd be great on a podcast. But hey, if you do whatever you want. So a lot of people want to know if he's dating anybody. A lot of people are shooting their shot at him. And some people said, like, why did you go and talk about her now for the first time? So a lot of juicy questions in there, but it just goes to show, like, this is an audience that has questions. Someone said, just curious, why did you wait so long to address the split with Serene? And by the way, he got into that. So he answered that. Let's see if there's anything else he had to say. So, there's his dog. Wait, were you and Sam dating? Did y'all break up? We need the tea. I don't even know who Sam is, so let's just move on from that.
One, you're an angel. Two, I love to see your growth.
All right.
Oh, there's a lot. We're
getting annoyed. All right, so he's got...
Oh, you like it. Okay.
All right, so anyway, that's all we have. That's all we have from BMAC, Brandon Jones there. Let's go to Reality Steve and what he had to say about this interview.
Feel like I'm going to listen to it, and it's not because I have some sort of vendetta against Brandon. It's 90 minutes long, and
I would recommend listening to it. I thought it was a good interview.
The fact that one thing that was already sent to me about it, I have an issue with, and that is apparently he name dropped me on the podcast. I did not listen, but what was relayed to me was he was saying that Serene's plan and threat since their breakup was Serene releasing the fighting videos that she had and audio clips and to me and exposing him. And he's saying that if he stays quiet, then she will release some 80 videos of them fighting to Reality Steve. And since he finally talked about their breakup, he's preparing for that to happen. He thinks that's what's going to happen. Now that he has spoken out, he thinks Serene, who's got a bunch of videos of their fights, she's going to give them to me. Let me just say this right off the bat. I do not have any audio, any videos of anything regarding Serene and Brandon.
And look, I believe Steve here 1,000%, but it doesn't mean that Serene didn't leverage that. Like, oh, I'm going to, because she did go on Off the Vine, and, there are podcasts you can go on where you share your story, Vile Files, whatever. So I believe Steve, but I also believe in this relationship that could have been leveraged.
Their relationship, the only thing I know about their relationship is what they put on their Instagram posts when they broke up, what Serene said when she went on Caitlin's podcast, what Brandon wrote in response to Serene's appearance on Caitlin's podcast. And then obviously I was the one that released the video of Brandon in San Diego that essentially led to the breakup back in June of 2023. Yeah, June of 2023 when I released that. So I don't know anything about these two. I really don't. So in terms of, have I heard a lot of things? Sure. And that's another reason why I really don't want to listen. Look, I'm sure Brandon's got his side of the story, but from the things that I have heard about this relationship, let's just say that the clips that I have seen on the internet and the clips that people have sent me, it really does seem like Brandon is leaving stuff out.
Look, and you can go check out Reality Steve's full episode because he always does a good job there. Yeah, maybe he is leaving stuff out, but it really comes down to the specific, did he cheat or not? If the relationship sucked, put it in the list of other relationships from your 20s that suck, right? If there's cheating, if there's, whatever. And even Brandon did say in the Clayton interview, well, maybe even though we broke up, maybe I left the door open. What does that mean? So again, I'm really not having much of an opinion on anything other than in his eyes, it doesn't seem like there was a gray area. And in her eyes, it does. So that makes it a gray area. When one side has a gray area, there's a gray area. Unless they're unreasonable and not, whatever. But that's it for this video. Is there going to be more tea that comes out from this story? I believe so, from the people I've spoken to. And we'll be here to share it with you when it comes out. All right. And if you want to know what that tea is, I just talked about it on my Patreon, patreon.com/Dave Neal. So go over there if you want to check that out. All right. We'll be back with more right after this.